Rhys from Red Meat.
I am here with Rhys Hughes, who is known for his Red Meat project, but he also had Dead Pixel as well. And so the one thing I really wanted to speak to you about, because I find this really interesting, is that you've really changed what you do over the years a lot. Like, not musically, but kind of in the way you create it.
Yeah.
So, kind of like, how did you start with a standard DAW? Because I mean, me, like, I'm Billy Basic over here. I started on DAWs back in the 90s. VSTs came out, and I went woohoo, and then that's basically me, you know.
Well, I mean, setting the Wayback Machine back to mid 1990s. I was studying music at college, and the first thing that I was introduced to was Cubasis.
Yeah.
Back in the days when it was sat on an ST, and we had the ST at college and a Roland D50. And like, yeah, that's your synth department. Oh, great. What the fuck do I do with this? Because back then, I mean, as you'll probably remember yourself, is like you had to input the bank and you had to input all the information into Cubasis to get it to run the sounds that you wanted it to run.
Yeah. And those D50s, they have nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Almost absolutely put me off writing music for life.
Oh, right. Okay.
You just, oh no. A year later, the music course got some funding somehow, and we ended up with a pile of brand new, I think they were XP10s, like old Roland Romplers.
Oh, yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
So you had a pile of XP10s and a pile of, I think they were Power Macintoshes. And the latest version of Cubasis, which was same shit, but our music tutor understood which banks went to what and explained it to us. Like, oh, yes, there's some sort of hexadecimal. Oh, great. That's still not making me enjoy music, though.
No, it's not very musical, is it?
No. I mean, the problem was the music course I was on was catered more towards your guitar musicians.
Right.
Because it was late 90s. Everyone wanted to be the next Britpop icons.
Yeah.
Me, I'm a synth nerd. I've always been a synth nerd. I grew up as a synth nerd.
Yeah.
I came from a working class family. Like, their idea of getting me a synthesizer was getting me a PSR 550 or whatever it was at the time. I go, it's a synthesizer. No, that's a personal keyboard. But the thought's there, and I really appreciate it because that gave me an escape from life. That was what I loved about learning to play keyboard in the first place. Is I could just shut out the outside world, play on the keyboard for a bit, and things started to make sense a little bit more. I mean, as I've grown older, I've realised that's actually autism, Rhys. You didn't know it at the time, but you've been autistic your entire life. But, yeah, so about 12, I picked up a keyboard for the first time. Roughly about the same time I picked up my first Jean-Michel Jarre songbook. I was like, okay, and I learned to read sheet music just so I could play Jean-Michel Jarre tracks because I absolutely adore Jean-Michel Jarre from about 10 years on.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Like, first time you ever saw Houston Leon on TV, like, wow, what is this?
Yeah.
And it was like the most uncool thing in the world, but cool thing in the world at the same time.
Yeah, it absolutely was, yeah. I remember it so well, that kind of stuff, because I kind of had a similar trajectory to you with that as well, because my first two bands I was really into were Jean-Michel Jarre and Iron Maiden.
Great combination. Absolutely fantastic combination. I mean, I was very single-minded with me. It was Jarre and more Jarre.
Yeah.
And if you're really unlucky, I caught some hits of 1987 that my gran bought me as some crap. I got this window into what neurotypical people listen to. Looking back on it now, I was like, oh, right, this is what's going on in the real world. Yeah, no, I'll go back to Rendezvous, thank you very much.
Yeah. No, I completely get that.
That fixation stayed with me till about 13, 14-ish, and then suddenly Nirvana happened. And I couldn't tell you to this day what it was that changed my mind practically overnight on that, other than something the lyrics just felt oh, what's this? What's this feeling? Like directing all this anger, and it's like, oh, okay, this is speaking to me. I think that was the first time I'd ever properly listened to a band outside of either electronic stuff like Jean-Michel Jarre, Kraftwerk, occasionally a little bit of Tangerine Dream. Actually getting out of my bubble of just abstract into something that was directed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. So fast forward to the end of the 90s, I'm doing this music course, and half my mind's in Jean-Michel Jarre and half my mind's in Nirvana, and I have no clue how these two things fit together. And then someone introduced me to Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's like metal, electronic abstract stuff. Metal, electronic abstract stuff. Oh. But then, I'm hearing this stuff and thinking, this is amazing. How do they make this stuff? And I'm sat here with this XP10 Rompler going, is this what a synthesizer does? Because I'm still particularly naive at this stage. I don't realise there's this massive world of synthesizers just yet.
Of course, yeah.
And so I finished the course, completely unsatisfied, and decided that's it. Music industry, business, this, that, the other. It's not for me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And so that feeling inside me stayed dormant for a couple of years. And then I obviously ended up going to rock clubs over the years. And in Manchester, obviously, we had Rock World, i.e. the Underworld.
Yeah. I remember it well. Yeah.
And slowly but surely dipping my toes into, well, you like Nine Inch Nails, here's more industrial. Interspersed with goth that I wasn't really particularly interested in the time. And it was just like, as you are as a teenager, like early 20s, like, oh, what's this goth shit?
Yeah.
You look back now and you're like, well, actually, no, it makes complete sense. But at the time, it didn't, so shut up, Rhys.
Well, I mean, I know what you mean, because I didn't understand why goth and industrial were stuck together at all. Because for me, I'd come from, well, like I say, similar thing from metal and synth stuff, and I was like, but this is closer to Metallica to me than it is to, like, Sisters of Mercy. And, this is coming from a Skinny Puppy fan. And I couldn't see
the thing. And people, I have this argument about once or twice a year. I still, to this day, do not get Skinny Puppy.
I know. There's a lot of people who don't. And that's
to me, it's goth with a drum machine. And I've got Sisters of Mercy for that. The thing is, the concept of Skinny Puppy, I get. But the actual sound of Skinny Puppy just never quite meets that ideal in my head.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, I mean, with Skinny Puppy, the thing is that if you listen to the wrong albums, you're gonna think they're shit, right? You just are, right? I think
someone tried introducing me with Too Dark Park.
All right, okay.
And everyone says that's one of the better albums, that and Rabies.
I wouldn't say Rabies. No.
No. So I don't know. A lot of people said to me, like, "Oh, go listen to Rabies." I think, well, I don't get that either. And don't get me wrong, Cleansful Manipulate, I actually quite like.
I think if you tried something like Last Rites, you'd probably go, "What the fuck is this? Nothing sounds like this." Because that's the truth of it. Nothing does sound like that album. But you don't have to. That's just me. That's me going.
Yeah, it's one of those that I revisit once every couple of years and see whether it's actually got into my palate yet. Because a lot of stuff I've listened to over the years, you'll listen to it one year, you won't get it. You'll listen to it a couple of years later, you go, oh, hold on, why was I so about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm being slowly dipped into the industrial side of things, like for want of not wanting to sound like a bleeding purist on this, but true industrial kind of bloody thing. But
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, so introduced to PAL, stuff like that. You're just kind of getting it a blaster. And then someone says to me, there's this festival in Bradford. If you're liking this stuff, you should really come to this festival.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
And it was Infest 2001. as memory serves.
Oh, okay.
It was the first year I think Covenant headlined.
Right.
And from the second I stepped foot in there and I'm looking at the stage, I'm seeing people with this kit, people that could just be anyone in the crowd.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, I felt like this was a community that I could get involved in, I could be part of it. It made sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And like these people are clearly DIYing this stuff and bolting it together.
Mm.
So it's like, how do I like get into writing this? And this is about the same time VSTs are starting to really
It is,
ramp up.
Absolutely.
Now, at the time I was working class lad. I wasn't earning a great deal of money, but I was like, okay, so I want to buy some kit. All right, yeah, what am I going to buy? I haven't got a fucking clue. And so I spent about a year bimbling around shops and looking at all this gear and equipment. And I think it was about the year between 2001 2002. I ended up meeting up with Tony Young, Autoclave 1.1, and Matt Smith that used to run Implant.
Yeah.
Prior to me obviously starting DJing with him. Of course, he encouraged that as well. And he turns around to me one day and says, have a play with this. And he tosses me this dodgy disc. I'm like, what's this? Reason.
Okay.
What's this then? He says, oh, well, just plug it in and have a look at it. And then loaded it up. And rather than it being like your standard DAW, it's just this, you can hook anything into here the way you want to hook it in. And it's like, this looks like a recording studio rather than just looking like a spreadsheet from hell.
Yeah. This is starting to make a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
Now you say that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
And then so, I eventually kit bashed together like the cheapest, nastiest 1 gig RAM bloody used laptop I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
Slamming this disc. And then for about 12, 18 months there, I'm trying to write music on this thing that can barely handle the software. Let alone anything else. And this is about the same time Tony's starting to ramp up to the first Autoclave releases. And being him a back and forth is like, you need to get yourself a Mac, you need to do this, you need to do that. Not in a bad way, just a very encouraging way, to be honest. This is how I'm doing it. You could probably go down this path and get yourself in a Logic Pro. Well, Logic Express at the time. I'm like, okay. And so, as luck would have it, a friend of mine came into a bit of money and could see I was struggling with this and wanted to support me with it.
Right.
Because you could see I was trying to do stuff and there was something coming through it, but I just couldn't quite get the money saved up to get my first MacBook.
Yeah.
And so they lent me the money to get that first ever Mac, and it was like, holy shit. I opened Logic Express for the first time, and at that stage, I still don't have a clue what I'm doing. But something starts to take shape and take form.
Right.
And I believe the first thing I ever spat out of that was what eventually became Nil on the first Dead Pixel release about 8 years in the future.
Right.
Because at the time I had no idea about EQing, I had no idea about how to make beats stand out or anything like that. I was still getting my training wheels.
Yeah.
So it all sounds, I've got this lovely piano sound, but everything sounds flat as a witch's tit. There's no automation anywhere. There's nothing really flowing. It's just, and then we copy this bit in, and then we copy this bit in, and then it's like, it's like bric-a-brac.
Yeah.
We've all done those first steps when we're writing music.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm getting excited. I'm also getting frustrated because I can't quite get these two bits of my head to meet in the center. Where I've got this idea, I've got this sound I want to make, but it's not quite working just yet.
Yeah.
So while I'm floundering around in this point, this is about the time that I met Jeff Lee.
Yeah.
And Jeff's like, oh, you've got a laptop. Have you got a copy of Ableton by any chance? And as luck would have it, Tony had bunged me a dodgy copy of Ableton.
Right.
Like, yeah, I've got a copy available. And why? Like, do you fancy doing like the laptop work for this band I've got called Modulate? I'd heard Skullfuck a couple of times, and I was like, well, I mean, at least it's experience, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it could be fun. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. Over that period of time, Jeff taught me a hell of a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have discovered any other way.
Right.
Than sitting with someone in a studio while they're throwing out bangers for fun.
Yeah.
And this goes here, and this goes here, and you duck this bit of EQ here, and you roll this bit off, and you'll actually get a pretty solid sound there.
Right. Okay.
Oh, okay. A lot of that makes sense now. And by that point, I'm starting to get to the stage where laptop one goes a bit wonky, and it's time to replace it with the new laptop.
Yeah.
And get the new laptop, and my grandmother, to her credit, gives me some money to get some fresh software for it. So naturally, it was cool at the time. I got Complete.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Native Instruments.
Yep.
And a couple of sample banks for it. I can't even remember the name of this. I think it was Mutations or something like that. Okay. But it's the first time I'd ever got my hands on some real quality drum samples.
Right. Okay.
And suddenly it's like, this has gone from really flat, crappy drum sounds to try to use more analog style synthesis equipment that didn't really work for me at all at the time. And then into this drum samples and big string sounds, and then a little bit of Moog here and there. And oh my God, okay, this is starting to sound like something. And this gets up to about 2009, 2011, 2012-ish. And a fair bit of life stuff happens. And lo and behold, I've got my first 5 tracks together, more or less. And that's when Analog Trash came in and went, this sounds pretty good. You fancy releasing this for us? I was like, oh my God, I get to release my first EP. And I've still got no idea how the hell I'm going to do this live. Up until that, it was just a studio project, and it never crossed my mind that I'd actually ever be performing this live.
Yeah.
And hence it's like, so it's kind of synthwavy, kind of witch housey, which is weird because no one's ever really gone that route with it. I like, okay, well, it's kind of got that synthwave. In my head, it had that synthwave vibe to it.
Yeah.
I know. Let's be a cheesy fucker. Let's get a guitar.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember the guitar.
It was great because the industrial scene had no idea what the hell to do with this. You couldn't dance to it, but it had a groove. You couldn't bang it on in a club, but you could sit at home and nod your head to it. But live, it really came into its own because it was more like a rock band by the time I'd done with it.
Yeah, I remember you had a full lineup and everything.
Ashley and Chris on board with me.
Yeah.
So, I was trying to get it more towards like almost this post-rock kind of vibe, but with a lot more synthesis than you'd normally see in that sort of stuff. I just kind of try to take all this influence and try to shape it into something that was kind of industrial, but kind of not. But just enough that some people get it.
Yeah.
Yourself floating around the hinterlands of the industrial scene. It's one of those, we dig it, but we don't know what it is, and we're not sure how to market it. It doesn't go in straight calls, and we're like, oh, we're not sure about this. It
can be quite conservative, yes.
Yeah. Not a disrespect to people. I get it. You go to a club, you hear bangers. So when you go to a festival, you expect to hear nothing but club bangers without realising there's this huge slew of bands on the periphery that don't just do that stuff. But absolutely. That's fine. That's great. But yeah, so we carried on with Dead Pixel for a few years, but I was struggling a bit with how to follow up that first EP. And, we were trying ideas. We just seemed to be getting more and more dissatisfied as a group. And Ashley went off to go and do stuff with more of a punky band, St. Lucifer. And Chris kind of vanished off in the ether and went a bit, COVID crazy, for want of a better way of putting it. Started to get very into his conspiracy theories. Felt like to disrespect the guy. I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm a bit edgy, a bit sketchy around this stuff. So I'm just like, all right, we'll just agree to disagree and just go on our separate ways. So then I'm sat in lockdown with like 2/3 of a Dead Pixel album that's never going to get released, because in order to release it, I'd need to employ a whole new band. That'd mean socializing with people, which I'm not the greatest person in the world for doing at the best of times. And so, I'm sat there in lockdown. I've just been promoted at work, so I've got a fair amount of wedge in the back pocket, and I'm just like, I think it's time to do something different. I've been watching videos on the Nord Drum 3. I was really intrigued by the sound of it. And about the same time, I'd got back into listening to a pile of old PAL stuff.
Right.
And Christian, I don't know if you remember where he used to do his live shows, but he used to use a live drum set.
Yeah. I remember, yeah.
I was like, I could feel this idea formulating in my head. But it's about the same time that industrial techno is really getting massive in the clubs.
Right.
Like we had in Manchester, we had a huge event called Drone, where Stephen that ran it would put on like 3 or 4 German industrial techno projects, like once every 4 months or so. I had this huge party vibe, but then lockdown kicked in. I was itching for that kind of sound again. It's like, well, why don't I just try writing some on my own and see what happens? Now, to me, this was like, oh, no, we're going down that road again. And in the back of my head, I'm just like, everyone's going to think, we used to be in modulators, going to start doing dance music now. I was like, oh, no, yeah, no, kind of, sort of, maybe. It's like all that influence that I've had and all that stuff that Jeff showed me years ago. I was sort of like, well, I don't really put this into use with Dead Pixel, because Dead Pixel's more about getting that rocky vibe or that witch housey vibe, or a little bit of synthwave in there with 80s thrown in. I want to do something that's the complete antithesis of that. Yeah. It's not very melodic. It's big, it's dumb, it's aggressive.
I can see that, yeah.
And it was just one of those moments of almost lightning in the bottle where I just started doing it. And because I was using a drum set, and I wasn't actually thinking about things in the shape of patterns or drawing it on a screen, I'd sit there for half an hour and try and put together some weird drum sounds and then get a rhythm together and then just flat record that into Ableton.
Right.
Chop it up, stretch it, loop it, and then create a dumbass bass line. And, in my own sense, I was taking the piss out of myself, because I always said for years, EBM's so predictable, all you need to do is here's your tonic, here's a semitone, here's a fifth. There you go, there's your EBM bass line.
Yeah, not hugely wrong, it's got to be said. Yeah.
It wasn't intentionally formulaic, and I think there was only really one track on the first EP that followed that particular rule of like digga 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 digga. It's just like, okay, you've done that now. They've had our fun. Let's do something else with this.
Well, I remember when you sent me the tracks to play, because I was actually going to play with Red Meat on Infest, but then my life got in the way. But I remember you sent me the tracks, and I think it was 3 Tenets, is that the name of the track? Yeah. Where I was like, hang on a minute, this is in 5/4. I was just like, yeah. And it's like, this has got a really nice grid to it. It's like, hang on a minute, all right, okay. This isn't just standard industrial techno then, there's more to it, So that was
it, because I got through about a track and a half of writing just straight 4s, and then that bit in the back of my brain that does Dead Pixel went, are we just going to do constant 4/4? Are we going to do something a bit more? It's still got a repetitive rhythm, but that rhythm kind of swerves on you. I was like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. We'll go with a 5/4 track. It's like, because everyone generally, you look at industrial albums, like, for a bit of variety, we're going to do a triplet track.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
that's
Yeah.
not as out there as a lot of it gets. But I think 5/4 is one of those time signatures that really lends itself well to an industrial sound. It's almost mechanical.
Yeah, I'd
In a
say
way,
that.
like chug, 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 drop, chug, 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 drop. It's
Yeah.
like a conveyor line.
Yeah, yeah. And it can be really groovy as well if you do it right. 5/4,
Yeah.
7/8 as well. Actually, I mean, I've done loads of 7/8 on my albums. Gone way too much to the point where I had to just stop using 7/8. But yeah, absolutely. The thing is with these slightly different time signatures is it just gives a different groove, and it stops you sounding the same as everybody else, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, not something that I'd really want to repeat too many times. I mean, I've no doubt I'll write in 5/4 again, but it's one of those, you can't have every track in 5/4. I mean,
No,
okay,
you can't.
I suppose Tool have everything in 7/8 and 8/9, I want to say.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's Tool. I mean, that's a
Yeah, that's
completely
a different
thing
thing. Yeah,
entirely.
that's a different thing. Yeah.
I have no intention of being the next industrial Pink Floyd. People want angry, thumping music. I just want to do it slightly differently. I don't.
Yeah,
The thing is, a lot of people fall into this. This is not wanting to sound patriotic because a lot of people do really great music. But I see it a lot. A lot of people are doing this kind of industrial that's got this wavetable slide all over the bass sound. Like someone threw a transformer down the stairs. It's great for a couple of tracks, but it's like doing that and calling it sound design. It's like, no, it's a trick. You've learned a trick, and you keep repeating the same trick.
Yeah, and they did that trick to death in dubstep. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have no problem with dubstep. What was I listening to earlier on? Gore-Tex. Band on the EXE label, and a lot of what he does has got a really like crunchy sound across the bass. But it's still really great effect. But then other stuff you hear is like you're drawing too much attention to this one sound and not the entire facet of the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'm writing at the moment. It's like it's got a bit of melody in there, but it's a lot more atonal at the moment. I'm working more in textures than anything else. As far as like you get this nice bass line going, but then you want this evolving texture over the top of it.
Yeah, just to create interest. Yeah.
The biggest change in creatively what I've been doing in the last couple of years is switching entirely to iPad.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up actually. Yeah.
Because up until Homo Vulgaris, the first Red Meat EP, I was writing exclusively in Ableton by that stage. But I don't know, it was just there's something about working in a standard DAW doesn't work well with my head.
Yeah.
I sit there and get bored pointing and clicking.
Yeah.
Now, going back in the Wayback Machine a little bit to like 2009, 2010-ish, I picked up my first iPad back then. And I was so hyped for it purely for one reason. Animoog.
I remember Animoog, yeah.
It's still about it. There's a new version of it came out a couple of years ago. But when it came out, it was like, oh my God, this is a touchscreen synthesizer. This is huge. And, back then you're on like your iPad version 3. It was a sound to behold because it was just so, he had such a huge sound to the synth. But you're like, well, great, that's a synth, but what can I do with this? I mean, I could plug it onto my laptop and try and write with it that way. Well, they never really clicked that well. I wish someone would bring out a DAW for this. Because back then, there were huge limitations on iPads.
Yeah, they were a lot simpler back then, definitely.
Yeah, it was like a glorified iPhone. But now you're up to, the model I'm on at the moment is an M2, and it's pretty much the same as a MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
It's got an M2 chip, it's got 16 gig of RAM, it's got 4 terabytes of hard drive. It's It's probably the most powerful computer I've ever had, but it's a bloody tablet.
That's a pretty crazy spec.
The advance is ridiculous. Considering this, a leap of 10 years, maybe.
Yeah.
It's
That is
utterly
wild.
nuts. And now, of course, you've got Logic Pro for iPad, which it's okay, but it's got its flaws. The one that I use more than anything is a piece of software called AUM, or Audio Unit Mixer.
Right.
Which goes back to almost Reason-esque. You bring up a mixer fader, and then you add an audio unit to the top of it, and then you put your effects underneath it, and then you link it into your MIDI. Now, it doesn't have its own inbuilt sequencer or piano roll.
Oh, right. Okay.
So what I was using for a while was you could get audio unit MIDI sequencers.
Oh, right. Okay.
That you can set up a MIDI channel, hook in the sequencer, and then connect that. And it's almost the simplicity of it was amazing. But I found that the sequencers on a touch screen, somehow you're missing. It's the first time you're missing the tactile feel.
Right.
So what I've done in the last couple of months is picked up an SQ64, which is a Korg polysequencer.
Right.
And so that gives me 4 channels of sequencer in 64 steps per channel, and a submix on this final channel of it that brings up 16 drum sequences.
Right.
So I can hook those all into the sequencer, the sampler that I use in AUM.
Yep.
Multi-channel that out into separate faders, and then you can just arm each and every channel and record every channel as you're going along.
Right. So that's got to be interesting, because that means it's got inbuilt limits, doesn't it? And
yes,
I always find limits are great because they just allow you to be creative, weirdly enough.
Yeah. That was the whole reasoning behind it, because I was finding I was writing these really bloated tracks, because I'm trying to go, okay, well, I've got this bass line, great, well, I need another melody line on top of that, and then I need another melody line on top of that. And you don't. And it's something that is bringing me full circle and back round to learning how to do the most with the least.
Right. Yeah.
I've got a track that I've got on the fly at the moment, and what I've been trying to do is like a standard stuttery bass line, like your atypical EBM bass line, and then set another bass line underneath it. Now, it doesn't really need that other bass line. I'm sat there now going, well, I don't need that line, so let's do something else with that. So when I go back downstairs a bit, I'm probably going to remove that line, because it's got this really low growly drone in it, this bass line, and then I'm going to use the other line for something high end in it.
Right. Yeah.
Which will then create my full track, more or less. But the way I'm working at the moment is creating like that full banging part of the track, the bit that you're like, yeah, this is about as good as it can get, and then working back in reverse from that. And building my intervals up in that, so it starts with the weird ambient background sounds, and then the kick comes in, then the kick stops, then we come in with 2 extra bits, come back out, build it up, back out, build it up, back out. It's just learning how to do that with a sequencer at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to be an entirely different way of working, I imagine. So that's cool.
It is. One of the things that I'm planning on doing the next month is picking up a pad not touch control, a launch control for pots and faders.
Oh, okay.
So I can assign my synths filters to that and be able to shape the sound on the fly as I'm recording. Because the idea, I'm taking a lot of inspiration from Joey Blush Response.
All right, okay.
I don't know if you've seen any of his videos, but the guy's got a huge, massive studio of equipment, and he I'm pretty sure he's ADHD. I wouldn't want to like say for certain, but he's like, DAWs don't really work for me. I get bored in a DAW. I'm very much the same myself. Like, what he does is he records it on the fly as he's jamming around in the studio, and will then edit that down into an actual track by the time he's done.
Oh, okay.
I'm very interested in that approach to how he's doing it, as I can see how that works, and that makes sense in my head, because I'm happiest at the moment where I'm just jamming around in AUM, not really creating a full track. I'm just jamming around and getting something that sounds good.
Right.
And then just dicking around with like my filters and bringing stuff in and out through the volumes. And that's creating, it's a lot more spontaneous. It's a lot more, I mean, obviously there's parameters there. You know, you've got your specific melodies that you're playing, but just sitting there feeling around in the track and going, and then bring those bits out, filter that up, and then bring those bits back in. And just getting that spontaneity and being able to record that.
Yeah. I can see that being great, actually. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where I am with it at the moment. It's been a journey to get to here for the last couple of years. Just, you know, you released that first EP with a new project, and you're like, that's great. How do we carry that on now without it just being derivative of that first EP?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bands out there who are happy to just repeat themselves, but, you know, if it's not your thing,
maybe
then
it's just me. Maybe it's just my thought process in my head. But I'm always disappointed where I'm looking forward to a new release by a band, and it's the same shit as the last album.
Yeah, I can understand.
So you get like 2 or 3 outstanding releases, and then the fire just goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how it... I mean, that's the thing that I mean, going back to, I guess, Iron Maiden, the thing that amazes me about Iron Maiden is that I still enjoy them because they have basically written the same album for 40 years. But there are very few people who can pull it off, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it as well is in my own head, I'm just like, I'm overthinking in some respects. It's like, how can we make this fresh and original? Well, who says you need to make it that fresh and original?
Yeah.
All you need to do is create a new track that doesn't completely sound like the last track, maybe, or maybe not.
Do you think that's? I mean, that's one thing I was wondering as well, because you know, I see that you're always doing stuff, but you don't release very often. So I was just wondering, is that because you throw away a lot? Or is it because of this overthinking, do you think? Or is it because you spend a lot of time jamming and learning?
I've currently got the musical equivalent of what I'd like to call the grey pile of shame.
Okay.
There's about 10 to 12 tracks stored in AUM at the moment that were bits of ideas that I've either not had the equipment to be able to realize it the way I want to realize it, or it's just what I've written and gone, that either sounds like someone else or it sounds like your last EP, and it's just going to sit there. At the moment, there's only 7 tracks that I play live out of a possible 9 tracks that I could play live. Okay. 2 of them are just sat on the wayside, and then there's like the 9 others that are just sat there in the background that I'm thinking at this stage I'm now going to get to actually finish writing. Another thing to remember is there's been a lot of life happening for me the last couple of years, obviously moving to Manchester and then moving again in the last 6 months to here.
Yeah.
So it's been one of those getting myself back into a stable routine of life where I can be comfortable to sit down writing again.
Yeah, no, I get it completely.
And I think that's played a huge part. I mean, a couple of years ago, we released Providence through Armalite, and fair play to Armalite. They have been very patient over the last couple of years, knowing that I've had stuff that I need to get sorted out. And it's like, I keep telling myself, I'm not going to book any more gigs for a while. I'm just going to sit and write for a bit. So when we come back, it's going to be fresh. It's going to be new stuff. And then someone says, Rhys, do you want to come and play a gig? I'm like, yeah, I do actually.
Hard to turn them down.
The thing is, for somebody that's only released 6 tracks, maybe, 7 tracks as this project, I don't have to get booked for an awful lot of gigs for someone that's only got 7 tracks.
That's very, very true. And that was something I was thinking earlier, actually. Yeah, because one thing I do like to do, I don't always succeed, is to at least listen to, before I do an episode of this, is at least listen to some of the discography. With yours, that was really easy. Because like you say, you've only got the 7 tracks out for Red Meat at the minute. So
I mean, there's only 6 of those are actually available relatively easily. I mean, Homo Vulgaris is obviously it's on Bandcamp. It was on everywhere, but then I realised I was coughing up, 13 quid a month purely for the benefit of keeping that EP up online.
Right.
Really,
at some that point much?
I will re-release it, possibly with remixes or something along those lines. Here's something that's in the back of my mind, because this was the EP I released back when I had no fucking idea what I was doing with this. Now, there's certainly stuff I look at and go, I'd change that a little bit. Not all of it, just a couple of tracks. I'm like, I'd tweak that a little bit. But again, that's a pitfall that you can fall into with stuff.
Absolutely. God, I mean, those first albums that, people really liked at the time, I'd rip those to pieces now.
Yeah.
But you can't,
I remember
because
going back, I think it was about 12 months ago, I went back and listened to the Dead Pixel album, Form Follows Function. I'm like, there's bits of this are really great, and then there's bits that you could tell I couldn't mix for toffee, and there's phase cancellation everywhere, and there's just bits of it that just make no sense. And I was like, oh, if only I could do that album again, but I don't want to go down that path, because revisiting that is just the way you go back into that cycle.
Yeah.
And it's a pitfall.
Yeah.
It's not something that I think I really need to revisit. There's still people that enjoy that stuff. That's great. It's in the past now. Let's just leave that there.
Yeah, you don't need to George Lucas stuff. You just don't. There's no need to.
No, exactly, precisely. So I think certainly moving forwards and looking forwards to stuff. One thing that I have got in mind for the next Red Meat stuff is it stings me a little bit, there's certain tracks from the last Dead Pixel album that never got released. And there's stuff in there that I listen to now. I'm like, there's elements of absolute brilliance in this that I'd like to see how that would translate to more the medium of Red Meat. I mean, there's not a lot of it that could. I mean, there's a lot of it is just like melodic post-rocky kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of tracks where you could hear I was starting to form something that was almost seeging into Red Meat, the more angry stuff in there.
Yeah.
Which, when I was doing it at the time, everyone else was like, this doesn't sound like the last EP. It's like, you're doing this melodic stuff, but then you're doing this couple of tracks that you basically sound like a very angry northern Al Jorgensen.
Al Northenson. Yeah, that's it. Nice.
So it was sort of like, yeah, all right, this might be 2 projects invading the same headspace. And I think even then I was like, I think I need to separate this into 2 separate things.
Yeah. That's an interesting part, that, isn't it, really? I always find the point when you find out you're not writing something from the project you were writing for, because that happens to me like a lot, where I'm writing a track and I assume it's a Keith Baker track, and it turns out it's not, it's a Slip Drive track or whatever. That happens to me all the time.
I've got this folder in AUM of tracks I've written that are almost entirely drone based.
Nice.
There's absolutely nothing going to probably ever get released of it. It's certainly not Red Meat. It's certainly not Dead Pixel. But it's stuff where I just need to sit there and chill.
Right.
I'll just write this stuff. I mean, there's this sequencer for iPad. I can never remember the name of it for the life of me. But it's basically 4 playheads that play the same melody, but you can switch the speeds on the melody.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's called a fugue machine. That's what it's called.
Oh, nice. That sounds really good, actually.
Yes, you could create this flowing kind of like vibe, like almost a round robin, but then you can switch the pitch on each of the playheads. So drop the pitch down a couple on one, so it becomes your bass melody, and switch one up a bit, that becomes your arpeggio speeded up. And you can create just these massive swirling ambient messes.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to have a look for that now.
Yeah,
that sounds really interesting.
There is a plug-in version of it for computers as well.
Right. Cool.
Well, yeah, it's not all about writing red meat at the moment. There are these points where it's like, I need a break. I just need to do something else for like 10 minutes. And then I'll end up writing this 5-minute bloody drone piece that's never going to get released. It's never going to do anything, probably, he says now.
I think you should. I mean, all right, fair enough. I shouldn't advise anybody on success-based things at all, right? Ever. But as you know, I just go. I write something and I go, right. I like that. I'm going to turn it into something. Drop. Done. Right, on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's never really been about success for this. It's just me doing something and having fun with it.
That's why, really.
When it stops being fun, I stopped doing it. It's like when I stopped doing Dead Pixel is because I stopped enjoying it because there was a lot of stress around it.
Yeah.
There was, I don't want to throw anyone in the sin bin for anything. There was a lot of drama went around at the time that Dead Pixel stopped being Dead Pixel. Just bits and bats in the background. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to knock this wall on the head because I'm not enjoying this. This entire thing is making me stressed out. So I'm just going to fuck off and do something else instead. No one was expecting that 6 months later I'd shit out a new Red Meat EP. It's like, oh, okay. And then next thing I know, I'm playing Stay In Fest with it. Oh, all right. And then it just seems to kind of, well, not really. I'd love to say it's snowballed, but it hasn't. It's just been this perpetual, we need someone to do a gig. I know, let's go grab Rhys and throw him at this and see what happens. And I just do it for the fun of it. It's just like...
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's it. I mean, I'm 100% behind you on that one. That's great. That's the right reason to do things. Yeah. That's the right reason to do things.
It's only now that I'm like, I want to write more material and obviously want to give Armalite the release that they've been expecting for the last couple of years. But but it's also that, like, yeah, okay, so I've spent 4 years, well, there's been a couple of tracks built up after that, but in like 4 years of basically playing the same 7 tracks. It's like once we get, I mean, I've got 2 more gigs this year planned at the moment. I'm playing with Inertia in September. I've got another gig planned for Halloween, but that I've not got full information on that one yet. But once those are done, I do desperately want to settle down, actually try and get stuff written without this having to get about halfway through a track, stop, drop everything, start rehearsal again for doing the show, get back from that and forget where I'm up to.
Randomising, it's not fun, not nice, is it? It's nice to be able to concentrate on stuff.
Those little intervals really throw me out a lot.
Yeah.
Because you'll get in a groove for something, you'll start zeroing in on it, and then you'll have to stop, drop, roll, on to the next thing. Wait, oh, crap, I forgot where I was.
Yeah, 100%.
It's something I struggle with a lot when I'm writing. It's that whole, I can't compartmentalise between the version of this that has to go and do a live show and the version of this that's desperately trying to write new stuff for said live show.
Yeah, it does sound like saying no to gigs might be a good plan soon for you.
It would be if I didn't enjoy them so much, but that's another story. The thing is, I'm not the fastest writer in the world, and then sometimes I'll blink and a track will be written.
Oh, I love those moments. They're amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one I wrote for House Arcana's big 4 CD release they did, Vor, that came about in the space of a couple of weeks, just round this drum pattern that I'd created on this Euclidean drum sequencer.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, wow, this works really well. I wonder what happens if you throw a kick drum over it. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It was like that moment. It's like, this almost sounds like Imminent Starvation, but with an EBM bass line.
Right. Nice.
I like, all right, yeah, we'll roll with that, and then scream some lyrics about eating people alive over the top of it, and there we go.
Good stuff. Good stuff. No, I know completely what you mean. I mean, I think the craziest time that ever happened to me was when I was writing the first Slip Drive album.
Yeah.
I think there's something like 10 tracks. I can't remember how many tracks there are. That was written in as many days as there are tracks. Right.
Wow.
It was nuts. I don't understand how it happened. It's like I would come home from work and I would sit at the sequencer, and then I would basically have a track completed, then I would fall asleep, then I'd wake up, go to work, come home, sit in front of the sequencer, and basically did that, and then I had an album at the end of it. And it's like, but why isn't this shit? This should be shit. It's not. But yeah, that was the craziest one that happened to me, so I do know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, normally I'll stay if I'm writing something for argument's sake for Red Meat. Usually I start with a bass line, and the one thing I've been struggling with the last couple of months is finding just that right perfect sound for the bass line. And I'm slowly starting to get. Obviously, I had a bit of a break for a while, and it's one of those. Well, I had this perfectly engineered, so like this is how we write the bass lines for Red Meat stuff. Then I had a break, came back, so I was like, how do I do that again?
Right.
Bugger.
So
just in the sound of it. The trouble was I used to have an a Roland SEO2, which it's an emulation of a Model D, but it's not at the same time. Because it can do a lot of things that a Model D can't do. It can do hard sync.
Oh, okay.
And cross modulation.
God,
an amazing synthesizer, but obviously last couple of years I had to clear a lot of gear out because I didn't have space for anything.
Yeah.
And I was realising these last couple of months, like, actually that's the one thing I really wish I hadn't sold now. Bugger.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame. So what's synthesizer again?
Things, I mean, they're easy enough to get hold of, so I'll probably end up grabbing myself another one in the near future, but it's one of those, just realising, it just clicks with me the last couple of weeks. It's like, that's what I'm missing. It's that particular sound.
Right.
That it makes. It's just a really rich analog bass sound that's just like, oh, yeah, that was great when I had that. Because that, you could just dial it in and it just had a sweet spot a mile wide.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
I think it's one of those, I think, because I had a proper analog synth to do that with, I was almost spoilt with it. So now I try and do stuff with VST emulation. You know, it does kind of sound the same, but it doesn't really.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, I guess I'm just used to it now. But I keep looking at some of the stuff that's coming out now and thinking I want to buy that. Like I'd really want to get one of those Behringer 2600s, but I shouldn't.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm looking at the Cobol Expander at the moment.
Okay.
Because that kind of does what the SEO2 could do, but it's also got those fully fluid waveforms.
Right, okay.
Because the waveform's just on this on a pot, so you just turn it and it flows between each wave. So imagine like the things you could do with that and an LFO. I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, I definitely take your earlier point about wavetables only. I have heard so much stuff that is just wavetable, 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 and I am also really, really sick of it. So
It's like, don't get me wrong. I'm led to believe Serum is a really good piece of software.
it is, but you don't have to just do wavetable with it, but a lot of people do. The problem, I think the problem is really, the thing is with Serum is it doesn't really have oscillators. Everything's sample based, and that's why it does wavetable so well.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do just a standard, just a standard synth with it, it's not particularly awesome at doing that.
Yeah, but if you want to do that, like,
Yeah,
sound,
exactly.
like,
I mean, it can do
great.
it, but you're not going to get those kind of like little variations you get from a proper piece of kit,
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Let's try to find it now, but I mean, there's a iPad developer called Brambos, and some of the stuff he comes out with is absolutely bloody insane. He does almost software emulations of stuff like Drummer from Another Mother.
Oh, okay.
But there's one he came out with called Hilda. And it's a complex wave synthesizer. It's a single oscillator. But the absolute amount of dirt that thing can spit out.
Right.
It has like instability features inbuilt, so you can just tweak in a little bit of instability.
Okay.
And it's just instant filth. But the trick I've been trying to play with at the moment is setting two synths up, two instances of Hilda, and running the same sequence through both.
Okay.
And just destabilizing one of them.
Oh, yeah, to make it all nice and thick. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I like the sound of that.
That's the beauty with the sequence I've got, because all you do in AUM is just set your destinations for each synth, so you can just hook up multiple synths to the same sequence channels.
So you're not ever limited layer-wise, you're just limited as far as the actual notes go then. That's really cool. That is very cool. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it goes off something JD Tucker from Grendel said to me. Because he works on the rule of, if you can't do something with 3 synth sounds, try something else.
Yeah.
If you can't make it work there, it's not the right thing for the track.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can get that. Yeah. Because I understand that, because in my early days, I spent so long trying to fix sounds that just were wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can throw hours away doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. A number of times I was trying to shoehorn this one like drum riff or something into something that just absolutely didn't fit at all.
Yeah.
And then being convinced it wasn't the drum sounds, it was the synth sounds that were the problem. But then you stripped out the drum sounds, you had the most amazing ambient track you could ever listen to.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you've got to throw away stuff. I think that's one thing in the early days I know I struggled with, is you write stuff and then you throw a load of it away because, it doesn't work. You don't want
to orphan tracks, but then you kind of have to, otherwise you're just going to get stuck in this loop of unproductive period. It's just like, it's what I'm liking about the way I'm working now is I get to the banger stage. If I can get to the banger stage, I can work back from the banger stage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
If we can get to the point where all 4 channels are locked in, I'm just like, yes, this is working. This absolutely hits the sweet spot. Then I can work back from that and work back down the tree to the start and the ambience, and then the kick rolling in, and then everything else happening.
Right.
It's like that's how I'm working at the moment. It is definitely just like get to the finished form, and then work your way back from that so you can then get to your intro, and then just jam about with your stages in between, like tweak a couple of filters here and there, get some motion into it, so it's not just point A, point B, point C, point D, pause, breathe, point F. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yeah, no, that's a good way to look at it. Definitely. Yeah, nice. Well, I think we're coming up to an hour, so I think that's pretty good, I reckon.
Yeah, I've quite enjoyed that, to be honest.
Good stuff. So, just thanks for joining me. And if there's anything, you want to tell people about, then, now's your time.
I mean, at the moment, next show we've got coming up is in Manchester at the Lion's Den, which is a venue I've never actually played before. It's a relatively new one, as far as I know, just off Deansgate. And that is going to be supporting Inertia.
Right.
September the 17th.
Okay.
Hopefully,
cool.
if the wind's blowing in the right direction, I might even have a new track finished by then.
That'd be nice. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, get people to hear it for the first time.
But yeah, other than that, life is continuing. I have not, contrary to popular belief, vanished completely on my own arsehole.
Yeah.
I am busy working. I am busy writing. It's been a couple of years of just getting things on even keel and getting back into it.
All right, brilliant.